what is it doing there?
Now they're speaking out, saying there are UFOs in U.S. airspace and they need to be taken seriously.
A family in Hyden, Michigan believes their house is actually haunted and thinks something is harming their little girl. They're unidentified in U.S. airspace.
The U.S. Navy has finally acknowledged that videos appearing to show UFOs flying through the air are real.
I'm Todd Bates. I've been investigating the paranormal for years, yet still have no definite answers. Join me on this mysterious journey as we discuss all things paranormal, right down to the little gnomes. Why do millions experience these mysterious phenomenon, yet we have no proof? Welcome to Haunted Voices Radio, where I try and gather the pieces that may one day form yet another puzzle. And good evening, one and all. Welcome, Haunted Voices Live, right here on Sacred Spiral Network. Be sure to check them out, sacredspiralnetwork.com. Kelly Brickle does a great job over there. We're also accepting some new shows over there if you guys want to check it out. We've got an amazing show for you. Barnaby Jones is in the house. He's going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. April 2nd already. I mean, it feels like the year just switched. Seasons are switching. Hopefully all of you folks had a great Easter out there. I know we had a great one. We took Sherry and I took the little ones to an Easter egg hunt. Holy cow, it was packed with people. These poor kids, there were so many people, they only got like 2 eggs each. If I was a kid, I'd be pissed. But they made it through it. They did their thing. It was a fun event. So hopefully all of you guys had a great Easter out there. Get some hellos out of the way here. Of course, hi, Sherry. Hi, honey. Hi, John. Great to see you, my friend. And hopefully some others come trickling in here. It's been crazy. To give you guys an update at work, it's been dead. They're shut down out there, so things are a little slow. But I haven't really had much time to catch up with you guys. Doing some odd jobs and things of that nature. Some good stuff's coming up. Some really cool stuff. Doing some things on the side and things. So I do apologize for not keeping in touch with you fine folks and everything. It's just, it's tough. It's just tough juggling everything, but it's a lot of fun. It's, I got to spend time with my Sherry as well. You know, you got to budget your time, people. It's important that you don't just waste it. You try and budget it the best you can because hell, life's short. Life is short. But hopefully all you folks are doing good out there. We're going to be talking about some cryptozoology this evening. This is a different topic for the show. We don't have cryptozoologists on here very often. I'm not very versed in the field whatsoever, and Barnaby is one of the best to. I've learned a lot from him already, and he's going to fill your minds with some amazing knowledge coming up here, folks. We're going to talk about his new shows, his book. His events coming up, so many things we're going to be talking about. So get those questions ready. You can post them right there. We'll put them on screen for you later on. But what we're going to do is we're going to skip off. We're going to take the shameless break and we're going to not waste any time. We're going to get Barnaby on here and we're going to sit down and talk some cryptozoology and have some fun. You guys hang tight. More Haunted Voices on the way. Welcome back, folks. My guest this evening, Barnaby Jones, is a cryptozoologist and a paranormal researcher. He is the founder and lead investigator of Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society, CAPS, as they call it, based in Wisconsin. Barnaby is the host of Whispers of the Dark podcast and Monsters on the Edge on the Untold Radio Network. He has also appeared on numerous podcasts, including The Morning Show on WPR, and spoken at libraries, conventions, and conferences all over the U.S. This man is nonstop when it comes to conferences. He's probably hit them all. Now, you can also see the CAPS team on their YouTube channel and their series on the Trail of Undiscovered Beasts on PARAFlixx Paranormal Plus streaming service, which is awesome. I've seen a couple episodes of that. It's awesome to check out. So without further ado, let's talk to Mr. Barnaby Jones. Barnaby, how are you?
Good evening, Todd. How are you?
I'm doing great. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you. Cryptozoology, my friend. This is a big field.
Yeah.
This is huge, and over the years with the paranormal, the ghost, and you've combined the two, which is cool. Some people don't. You do. Why cryptozoology? What got you started? Is it a love of animals? What is it?
Absolutely. I grew up going to zoos and all over the US and stuff, and I've always been interested in animals, and it's just taken it. I always wanted to be a zoologist or a zookeeper growing up, and
Yeah.
it's statistically harder to become a zookeeper. Like there's fewer jobs. It is easier to become a football player in the NFL because there's a higher turnover of players and stuff. And I just never went to school for zoology, and life went on, and I ended up doing a lot of paranormal stuff and owning a haunted house attraction in a haunted building and having all these experiences there. And then I met an amazing guy by the name of Craig Salk, who had Hyden Adventure, which is this Bigfoot property in Upper Michigan. And I found out that these creatures are right here in Upper Michigan, right here in Wisconsin, Illinois, Minnesota, all over the United States. And when I found out that I could go Bigfooting in, pretty much your own backyard here in Wisconsin, then it opened up a whole new realm of going out and looking for these things. And it snowballed from there. And I started CAPS, and the whole cryptozoology and paranormal and anomalous all rolled into one. So
It's amazing. And that's cool how it all just snowballed like that.
mhm.
And you put a team together. And just the other week, we were talking about investigation teams, starting them, what to do, what not to do. Real quick, putting a team together isn't easy. If you could share some tips and tricks on, what's the word I'm looking for? Filtering is kind of harsh.
Yeah.
Filtering the people and finding the right fit for your team. Is there any tricks or anything you have to do that, or to hold one, keep one together?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have an amazing team here at CAPS right now. There's about 10, 15 of us on the team at any given time, and each person on the team specializes in a specific area. And in doing that, it allows the entire team to come together for different projects without having to be an expert on everything. We can reference each other and each other's knowledge bases and focus on our own areas of study and still learn from each other and learn from the experiences that we have as a whole. We constantly have people wanting to go out into the field with us and become part of the team. And when whatever you're doing, Bigfoot, paranormal, UFO, what have you, you don't need 50 people out there in the field doing it.
No.
And if you just have warm bodies out there doing this, you're not really getting the research that we want for CAPS. We're not doing the investigating and helping people when we go out on paranormal cases and stuff. When we go into somebody's house, we don't want the entire team at somebody's house when you only have like a little duplex or something that we're working with for this family. We bring the 2 or 3 people of the team that are most going to help work this case. For if there's lights and stuff turning on, we bring the skeptical and the tech people, because they're the ones that are going to debunk your faulty wiring and your other things that may or may not be happening. If there's a loved one or something that you believe there, we bring in the mediums and the psychics that can communicate with the other side to help bridge that gap. And so we have a very tight group of people with different specialities that can work each individual case. And that helps us when we bring psychics and mediums into the other side when we're doing Bigfoot or other cryptids and stuff, because being able to communicate with your spirit guides and the other world and that to try and get answers to what we're doing. Bigfoot could be a 100% flesh and blood animal, but that doesn't mean that, your spirit guides or what have you are not able to help with that. Hey, I heard a sound. Did it come from this way or did it come from that way? Do you think we should look over here? Do you think this area is worth investigating? It's all able to work together and make us a more solid team.
Excellent. Very well said. And I loved where you said using mediums on an investigation. We were just talking about that with Christina Bloom not too long ago, using mediums on investigations. And I wish more teams would do so. I think now that you've used them in the field, I think Stephanie and Ellie
Absolutely
are two excellent mediums. What are some of your things? Have they fared much better because of that, you think?
I would say that Stephanie Lynn and Ellie Weisensell are amazing, both of them, and especially working together, they both feed off of each other. And we have gone to a lot of different locations where, they have proven themselves time and time again. So many people out there, say that mediums are, just, carny folk, hoaxers or what have you. And I have personally gone to locations and done investigations and stuff with Stephanie and Ellie, and they have pulled stuff out that they shouldn't have known. There's no way you couldn't have Google searched it or Facebook researched it or anything, because some of the stuff is just so obscure.
Yeah.
Point in fact, the episode that just came out on our YouTube channel a couple weeks ago here now is the Al Ringling Mansion. And Stephanie does not want anything to do with any of the, tours or anything that we go on. She doesn't know any of the stuff beforehand. We give her an address, she shows up, and we go in. And we took her into one room where Al Ringling actually passed away, and she was immediately drawn to the bathtub where he passed away in. And she's like, I don't know what it is. There's something about the bathtub. There's something there. And that was one thing. Okay. But she pulled a name out, and I can't even think of the guy's name right now. But he's the grandson of P.T. Barnum. And
wow.
Come to find out that we actually spoke through Stephanie to Al Ringling, the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus, for anybody that's not familiar. But Stephanie and I got to communicate with Al Ringling, we believe, in his former house. And he brought up this name. I can't think of the guy's name. But he was the nephew of P.T. Barnum. And we're like, well, what does this have to do with anything like this guy's name? And I did a quick search, and I'm like, is he a Ringling? No, he's not a Ringling. Is he from another circus? Yes. Is he from the Barnum Circus? So I looked up his name and Barnum, and it turns out that this is a whole story about the guy that basically he inherited part of the circus from P.T. Barnum. And through this huge bachelor party for his brother that had dancing girls and hookers and drugs and all this stuff, and he got arrested, and it was this big deal, and he basically lost the entire P.T. Barnum fortune. And that's what allowed Al Ringling and the Ringling Brothers to swoop in and purchase the Ringling Brothers, or the Barnum and Bailey Circus.
Oh, really?
And it was so cool standing in Al Ringling's bathroom.
Wow.
And reading this article that I never, like I said, I can't even think of the guy's name right now. But it's just a weird, obscure name, this guy. And Stephanie just like, I'm hearing this name. I don't know who it is. And I'm like, I don't know who it is either. And we put this whole story together and looked it up and everything. And it's, this is what Al wanted us to know. He's like, this is to prove that he was who he was. And it's just amazing stuff like that.
That's incredible. I mean, try getting that on a cassette recorder. Good luck. I mean, that is something that you can, hi, Courtney, that is something you can take away from there just as much as you would a recording or a photograph or something. That's information, you know. That's good stuff. And so I'm glad you do that. I really am, because there's only a handful of other people I know that use mediums with their team. Some are just super scientific, and I get that, to each their own. But I think at this point in the game, Barnaby, we pretty much have to try everything we can out there to make contact. But some of the cryptids, I wanted to talk about some of these, and myself. Well, Barnaby, I'm a little dull when it comes to cryptozoology. I've been out a few times, not really knowing what I'm looking for, but yet looking. It's one of the, I have this thing. Okay, I'll know what it is when I see it. What are some tips that you can give folks coming in that are new to researching cryptozoology? They get a team together, people that are serious. They've gone through the all the diehard. Where do you advise them to go to start looking for things like Bigfoot or Dogman, or what do you advise them to do?
Sure. First of all, go find resources. Credible resources. I mean, depending on what you want to look for Bigfoot, there's the BFRO, Bigfoot Field Research Organization. There's also Bigfoot Mapping Project. The CAPS website as well has maps of sighting locations on it. For specifically ours is Wisconsin, but the BFRO and the Bigfoot Mapping Project have all over the U.S. Find an area where there's a lot of sighting reports. Wherever you are around the world. And there's also Dogman sightings, there's Mothman, there's all the different cryptids and stuff. You can look at where these things have been sighted. Find that first. Then look at those areas and find an area where there's likely to be life, something living. So you need water, you need food, you need relative, non-habitation of humans. You need someplace where these things can live and hang out without being bothered. And then study a little bit about what other animals and creatures are in the area, because you don't want to go out and get bitten by a snake, or cougars sightings in the area, or other large predators and stuff that are gonna endanger you while you're out in the field. Know where you're going, be safe. Let somebody else know where you're going and be safe. If you're going out there by yourself or something, or even in a group, let somebody else know in case you get lost or anything like that. And just kind of study more about the types of footprints and other creatures, again, that are in the area, because a lot of the times, unfortunately, some of the stuff is just mistaken identity. Know if there's bears in the area, know if there's, other large creatures or wolves or any of that stuff, so that you can narrow that down and know what animals are out there.
Yeah, Linda's asking here real quick, do you have any specific places you'd recommend?
A lot of the times when we do our research, anytime we get a sighting report, we'll look for water. And anytime that you find water, specifically flowing water, you have a lot more life. So that is someplace that we would focus on our research in a specific area. So we've looked into Mountain, Wisconsin, and we look along like the Pelican River there. We've had a lot of reports in that area. Mountain, Wisconsin, we look at water sources in that area. Different areas that we've gone out. There's a lot of reports down in southern Wisconsin, like the Kettle Moraine area. And, just look for where there's been a lot of sightings and where there's water, because all animals need water. So even if they're not living around the water, the chances of them coming down there are pretty good. And again, at the edge of the water, you have mud. So the nice thing about that is anything that comes down to get a drink out of the water is going to leave prints, and you can
Mhm.
see what animals are there. Even if you're not going to find Dogman, Bigfoot in that area, you can see, are there deer footprints? Are there wolf, bear, coyote, any kind of animal prints at all? And you can start to get an idea of what other animals are in the area.
That's some great advice, because when you're out there and about and you're looking for prints, for example. Now, a print of a Sasquatch is going to be unmistakable normally, right? I mean, it's going to be larger than a human foot. Sometimes what you get a partial, and sometimes it's the same size. What are some things you look for with that? I mean, you're out there looking for prints. You think you have the print of prints, but you have some awesome prints yourself. I wish you could show some. Um, what are some things people can look for in a print that makes it stand out, that makes it genuine?
Yeah. So a lot of people are looking for these, typical Bigfoot prints that look like a huge human footprint, right?
Mhm.
Well, the problem is a lot of time you're not going to find that because these things, if you look at any of the other great apes and stuff, they walk up on their toes sometimes. So you're looking for like a toe print or an indention that's not necessarily a solid foot, but more of like at an angle or something. And a lot of the great apes and Bigfoot have been reported like going down on their knuckles as well. So a
Mm.
lot of people don't look for those. When people are saying that they're following a line of footprints and they just stop, maybe you're not looking for the complete, you're looking for a whole foot, and you're not going to see that entire foot. You're only going to see the toes or maybe just the heel imprint of these things. It depends on how they're walking. Take a walk out on a sandbar or something barefoot, and see how your foot leaves impressions in that sand, and run across the sandbar. Walk on your toes, walk on your knuckles on all fours, and look at how those look, because a lot of times, like I said, you're not going to see the typical footprint.
Mm.
Um, when you're seeing a basic footprint like a humanoid footprint, the way you can kind of tell if it's a Bigfoot or a human, a lot of times, uh, with your human, you have the side of your foot is kind of cut out right there, right?
Right.
So you kind of have that big arch of your foot.
Curve, arch, yeah.
Well, typically you don't have that in Bigfoot because it's a solid round
Just
part of
flat.
right. Um, Now again, not all footprints are the same. You can have it with that, but a human print is going to have that curve out of it. The other thing is Sasquatch. The toes are in a straight line across the toe of the foot and not at a curvature. So humans kind of go down like this. Bigfoots are solid straight across the top.
Okay. So
It's
that's
kind of
that.
basic stuff, but and again, that you can have a Bigfoot that is curved like that. It's just all how in the foot impacted the sand or the mud or whatever your substrate is that these things are walking in. So your prints are not going to be that pretty footprint that everybody is thinking they're going to be.
It's going to vary. And, I like how you pointed out to look for the weight carrying on the front like that. That could be a big identifier right there. It is a big identifier if you're out there looking. So that's something someone like me would just walk by. We just walk by. If, but now I've been educated. So yeah, there's a lot of different things with cryptozoology. There's a lot of different cryptids. Now, some of the main ones that I've heard of course, uh, you of course you taught me about the hodag.
Yes.
There's Sasquatch and there's the skunk ape. Now that's down in Florida, right?
Florida,
That's
yep.
what. Then you have the dog man. Now this is one that I hear a lot of horror stories with this. Like this one's a little cranky.
I like this
tell,
cranky.
yeah, tell us about the dog man and what this is all about.
Absolutely. So, Dogman has been sighted again all over the world, all over the United States, over in Europe, England. Um, mostly a lot in like Wisconsin. We have the Beast of Bray Road here, the Michigan Dogman as well. It's pretty much your average Dogman sighting is going to be what people consider like werewolf type. Standing on two legs, the broad shoulders, very muscular, pointed ears, typically werewolf looking. But there's kind of three different types of Dogman. There's your typical werewolf type. Then there's one that has been reported that's more like a hyena, where they have the hump on the back.
Ooh.
And then you have more the ones that kind of look more like Anubis, with the black long nose, pointed ears. And the Dogmans are very broad. I mean, there's so many different reports and sightings and stuff like that, that there's a lot of gray area. I mean, with the Anubis type creatures and stuff, people are seeing them in their homes, like at the foot of their bed. They'll wake up and they'll see this Anubis creature standing at the foot of the bed.
Oh, I'd flip.
Some of the werewolf type ones have been reported in 2 dimensions. So basically look like a big black wooden cutout or a shadow, but just flat. And the lady who made this all come to fruition here in Wisconsin and coined the term Beast of Bray Road, Linda Godfrey, wrote about several of these encounters with these 2-dimensional creatures. That people have reported seeing them standing in like cornfields and stuff. And then there's definitely the people who have had encounters with, flesh and blood creatures of this type. So it's really hard to pin down this. Taking a step back here for cryptozoology in general, basically cryptozoology is, just zoology, except people have put this special term to it. But, back in the 1930s, 1920s, before that, all cryptozoology is just zoology, because all these species that we don't have a scientific documentation of would be a cryptid. The lowland gorilla, the platypus, the okapi, Komodo dragons, giant pandas. They were all very recently, within the last couple 100 years, were actually documented and officially coined as animals.
Yeah, the squid too, the giant squid.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah, they just found that. Yeah. I mean, it makes you think. It makes you think. And Linda's got a question: Are dogmen and shapeshifters related?
That's a very good question. Again, that goes back to what are they? Because you have the skinwalker type creatures. You have a lot of the indigenous folklore in that, of these different shamans being able to shapeshift, and that a lot of the people that report dogman, we'll just call it grouped as one, like dogman creatures. There are very few people that report the typical werewolf transformation. So you just see a dog. You see a large canine creature. There's nobody that has really reported, and I take that back. There's very, very few cases of people seeing these things transform from a humanoid shape to a dog shape. So it's pretty much a creature at that point. It's not a shapeshifter, but there's a lot of folklore of like animal skin belts, or natives putting on the pelts of different animals and being able to shapeshift into them, even without even getting into the dark lore of the skinwalkers and the other dark entities in that. So, but dogman have been cited all throughout history. I mean, you go back to early colonial and stuff in Europe, you have the Beast of Gévaudan in France, and that was this huge canine creature, this huge black dog, and it terrorized this whole city, and they eventually killed it. And it's documented in story and in drawings and stuff over there. So it goes back quite a long ways.
Man, the lineage with it. I mean, it's crazy how it goes back all that way, yet we still have no tangible proof. Tons of sightings, tons of documented sightings. I think it's time to come together and just go out and find this thing and see what's going on. I mean, because that's been going on for years, Barnaby, werewolves and such. Me personally, I it's legitimate to me because there's been too many sightings where it can't be made up. Too many people have seen similar things and described similar things. It just doesn't add up to be wrong. I just don't know why more people don't take it more seriously, I guess is what I'm saying, because there's a lot of information out there, a lot of documented information. It's just all these people are blowing it off.
Well, that's just it. That's where I was going with the cryptozoology thing itself. Is there's so many of these animals that cryptozoology could recognize. Like you said, the giant squids and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You have Bigfoot that falls into a very solid cryptozoology path, being that you have other, relic hominids, Gigantopithecus, other giant apes, the megafauna and stuff of the past. You have a fossil record, you have a proof in the pudding of these things existing. Your flying reptiles, your Loch Ness monsters, your lake monsters. You have these fossil records, this history to show that these animals did exist at one time and they still could exist today. Now, when you talk about creatures like the Dogman, there's nothing there. There is no evidence of an upright canine species. There are no real evidence of a dog species that is this big. So,
Yet.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And then, you have things like the Mothman and stuff like that fall into this more supernatural aspect, because again, you don't have a physical representation of these creatures existing in the past. So then it comes apart. Well, where did this thing come from? Because almost all the other animals on the planet, some of them, get kind of really weird and stuff, but they have relatives. There are other animals, like even the platypus, as weird as that animal is, you still have other animals out there, the other marsupials of Australia, where you can say, okay, well, this animal has a pouch, this animal has a pouch, so they're all kind of related under that little group. But a lot of these other creatures that, people bring up and talk about, there's just nothing to link them to anything. And that's why people throw them into this interdimensional or extraterrestrial or paranormal realm, because they just do not fit in the modern understanding of what science is.
And that's a good point. That's a good point. I kind of want to take you back to that before we get into some of your goodies that you have and provide for other people. Interdimensional. I mean, you have good theories for both, really. It's tough. What do you think, Barnaby? Do you think Bigfoot just kind of disappears into a fourth dimension somewhere, or, something such as the Yeti just kind of has to appear and reappear? And do you think they're interdimensional, or do you think that's possible?
I think it's possible, yes. I don't think that Bigfoot or any of the Yetis or any of that stuff of that grouping is interdimensional or anything. I think that they are an ambush predator, which allows them to camouflage very well, know their surroundings very well. And as we talked about earlier with the footprints, these things are 7 to 8 feet tall. Their foot stride is 5 feet. And that's the other thing. When people are looking for footprints, they see one footprint here and they assume that because when they walk, their next footfall is only 1.5 feet, 2 feet away. Well, these things have 5 feet in between each footprint. So when you're looking for a footprint, you're saying, oh, there aren't any more. Well, there's 1 foot here, and then there's a toe print 5 feet up. Well, then your next footprint is not for another 10 feet. And people are just saying these things disappeared that way. Well, I don't think they do. I think it's just
that makes sense.
Looking at the whole picture.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. They're disappearing, but in a natural sense. They're just camouflaging themselves, lightening their load, covering their tracks. Maybe, like you said, they're masters at camouflage. obviously, no one's captured a good picture. There's a few films out there, but we won't go into those on how they were captured. But you have all of this evidence, I think, pointing to us, just the existence of it. But I think, me personally, and from what I've read and learned, I think it's just a creature. Bigfoot is maybe a missing link to one of the great apes out there. And seeing all those like the platypus you mentioned, these were all strange, bizarre creatures back in the day, and I think even chupacabra was discovered or something, wasn't it?
Well,
as a dog.
There is the Quero, Texas blue dogs, and they've been kind of blamed for the whole chupacabra situation. But so that's a pretty good example here, because we found this brand new species. Zoology has discovered a new species, and that would be a hybrid of the Mexican wolf and the now you're putting me on the spot here. Mexican wolf and the coy dog. I can't remember what the hybrid is, but there's two different Mexican species that are down there, and they bred and they created these blue dogs. Now, this is a brand new species. It is now classified, but the thing is it's still a canine. And let's look at the original facts of the chupacabra, which is the Mexican goat sucker, originally seen in Puerto Rico and then in Mexico and then up into Texas. These attacks of animals, chickens, goats, sheep, all being completely drained of blood with a puncture wound on the neck, kind of vampiric, right? Hence the name El Chupacabra, or the goat sucker. And so now, when we originally looked at this whole case, people were thinking that this was a dog with mange, right? So it's killing these things because it's sick, and it's leaving the bodies, right? Okay, so you have this dog with mange, which is why it appears to be hairless, which is kind of what these Texas blue dogs are. They're basically kind of like a blue in color because they don't have much hair on their bodies. They're kind of like a pig looking.
Okay.
But so their skin has this grayish blue color, the Texas blue dogs. And so now if you blame all the chupacabra sightings and incidences on this creature, you're saying that the Texas blue dog has mange, and that's why it's killing indiscriminately and not eating the carcasses. That's not true, because now you have an entire species of this animal that's reproducing and breeding, and there's video footage a couple months ago of one of these creatures all the way up in Mississippi. So a lady had one in her backyard. So we're going from Texas all the way up to Mississippi of having this creature exist, which means there's a breeding population. There's more than one of these creatures out there. So if these things are a breeding population, they're healthy, they're breeding, they need to be eating. And if they're a canine, they're going to kill and eat that carcass, which is not leaving it fully intact, just drained of blood. So now that brings you back to the original chupacabra sightings and the reports and stuff of, this is not what was doing that. Yes, you found a new species. Yes, you found a new animal, but it's not responsible for the killings and the attacks that were originally reported in the 1990s of the chupacabra. So.
Oh man, the plot thickens. I love it.
There you go. There's your chupacabra history lesson.
That's cool stuff. That's really cool. I never heard that before. And Courtney's asking here, before we get into some good stuff here, do we know the first dogman, when the first dogmans were sighted?
Yeah, we talked about that. That was the Beast of Gévaudan in France.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as like in Wisconsin though, it goes back to the early 90s and stuff, was when there was a car attacked on Bray Road. There was scratches all down the side of it. And the newspaper wanted to do an article on it. So they gave it to their local, what do you call a newspaper article writer? Author, journalist. There you go.
Oh.
Named Linda Godfrey. And Linda Godfrey went out and she started looking into this, and she went to animal control office and she said, do you have anything about a dog that, attacked a car? And he goes, oh, you mean the werewolf file? And he literally drops this whole file of reports on his desk and he goes, here, it's your problem now. And that's how Linda
Ooh.
Godfrey got started with the whole Beast of Bray Road case and looking into all this. But there was that one case of the dog that chased this car down Bray Road and then left scratches on it and everything, and that's what brought it to light. And then Linda started looking into it, and there had been a ton of reports prior to that, and obviously since. So for Wisconsin, it's pretty much brought to light in the early 90s.
Man,
But it obviously goes back farther than that. So.
way farther. Yeah. All right. Now you've got, oh my goodness, so much going on here. We've got just a little bit of time here to cover it.
Mhm.
But let me get this going here. Your podcast, your new podcast. I want to talk about that coming out.
Absolutely.
Let me get this up here. See if I can get this to work. There we go.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Now this.
So I've been hosting Monsters on the Edge every Monday. It airs brand new episode every Monday from noon to 1 p.m. Central Time, and then you can get it on syndication on the Untold Radio Network. And the Paranormal Spectrum, is my brand new show on the Untold Radio Network. It debuts this coming Thursday.
Nice.
It'll be 10 a.m. live on the Untold Radio Network, and that's Central Time. And we are going to cover everything paranormal, from UFOs, aliens, demons, ghosts, interdimensional creatures, you name it. So anything that you're not getting on Monsters on the Edge, which is all furry and fuzzy creatures and scaly and lizardy things, and anything with, a pulse and blood, the Paranormal Spectrum is going to cover everything else in between, as well as the links between them, talking about the UFO Bigfoot connection, and you have it, you name it. So the first episode this Thursday, we're going to be talking all about everything that's been going on in Congress right now, in the US and even down in Mexico with the UFO cases, and all the stuff that's been going on with that, and disclosure, and where we're at with all the alien and unidentified aerial phenomenon and bodies and crash retrievals and all that stuff. So
Nice.
that'll be this Thursday at 10 a.m. So.
Man, well, thanks for setting that up. That sounds freaking awesome. I'm gonna check this. I'm gonna check it out for sure, because I'm up at 10 a.m.
Well, you'll have to come on then. There you go.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
I know it's so cool that there's something new out there, and it's going to cover the gambit, which it needs to. I know a lot of shows focus on single topics and things, but the paranormal is just so damn broad.
It's a spectrum.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
It's huge like that. And then
yes,
what we got going here?
We have a brand new presentation for the first time. Ma from Caps, she's going to be taking the stage with me. We are debuting a brand new presentation in Brainerd, Minnesota, next weekend at the Baxter, Minnesota, at the Brainerd Metaphysical Conference put on by Metapara Pro Promotions. It's going to be a great event. It's a 3-day event, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, next weekend. And this is going to be at 10:30 on Saturday. Myself and Ma are going to do the past 5 years of all of our stories and travels, and everything from Bigfoot, UFOs, Skinwalker Ranch, all kinds of stuff that we've done. And it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of videos, a lot of audio footage and stuff that you may have never seen on our shows and stuff. So it's going to be a whole bunch of fun. And after this weekend, then it's going to go on tour. We're going to be taking it to libraries and other stuff as well. So
we're going to have to do, I see a 2-hour special coming up with you and Ma and Rez.
Yeah.
I see this in my future. I'm as sensitive as a brick, but I see it coming. No, this is cool, because you're active in the community. You're doing your thing. You're not letting the drama and all the shit get in the way. You're making things happen, and I respect you for that. So thank you. Absolutely. And then this is your current show on the Untold Radio Network, Monsters on the Edge.
Every Monday.
Every Monday when?
Every Monday, noon live, Central Time, and you can get both the shows as well as several other Bigfoot and cryptid shows on the Untold Radio Network. It's run by Doug Hychek. He is the producer of Monster Quest. For anybody listening to that or familiar with the show, and he's working on.
Got it going on.
Absolutely, yeah. Awesome.
It's good stuff. Now, the traveling exhibit.
Absolutely.
I want to hear about this.
Absolutely. So yeah, so debuting at the we'll get to that. I think you got another graphic for the convention, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
we'll get to that then. So in 2020, we met, or actually 2019, we met Craig and Barb Salk, the owners of the Hyden Adventure. And the Hyden Adventure is 80 acres of private property in Upper Michigan. And it was featured after finding a series of 3 game camera photos that show a Bigfoot on his property. He sent them into Finding Bigfoot. Finding Bigfoot came out and investigated the property. And ever since then, Craig opened up the property for people to come see the evidence, hear the stories, share their stories. And we met him in 2019 and got the amazing opportunity to investigate the property with him in all of 2020. Craig was diagnosed with thyroid cancer in October of 2020 and passed away in April of 2021. And so his wife, Barb, just didn't want to continue running the Hyden Adventure. He did the tours. She just kind of ran the gift shop and stuff. And the CAPS team kind of still doesn't research and investigating up there. And we just don't have time to run the thing like he did, right? So we came up with the idea to take all of his displays and turn them into a traveling exhibit.
Yes.
So starting at the Menominee Bigfoot Convention on June 1st this year, the Hyden traveling exhibit starts, and we'll be traveling the country. We have a couple more dates coming up. We're going to be at Squonkapalooza in Pennsylvania coming up in August. And I think there's one other location that we got so far booked, but it debuts June 1st, and there's a scale model diorama of the property. You can see where everything took place. You can listen to actual audio that was recorded on the property. You can see a footprint cast that was taken on the property. You can feel it, look at it, see how big it is. And then, of course, we have a whole series of big banners that have QR codes. You can scan, you can read about the evidence, you can see the pictures, and then you can scan the QR code and actually listen to Craig talk about it himself.
Wow.
So it's a really cool interactive exhibit. It's gonna be great. I'm really looking forward to it. I put a lot of work into it to just kind of keep this whole thing alive and going. And it debuts, like I said, June 1st.
That's
Menominee
fantastic.
Bigfoot and Paranormal Convention. So
That is fantastic. Way to go on that, man. Putting all that together. I bet that was some work, but
yeah,
you got it.
absolutely.
That's awesome. Now, the book.
That is the book. Yes. So this is the book that goes along with the convention or the museum that we just talked about, the traveling exhibit. This is co-authored by Craig and myself. Craig wrote the first book, which was locally published. He just sold it at the Hyden Adventure. And he was working on the second book when he passed away. So this is his first book. His second book, which is completely finished being edited, and I finished writing because towards the end of it, it was all like our research anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third book in there is everything that we've done on the property since he passed away. So there is 10 years of research, documentation, evidence, pictures, stories. It's full color. It is big. It's a like a coffee table book. This is the actual one. You can see how big it is.
Oh yeah,
So
perfect.
it's a full book. It is 200 and what does it say? 248 pages there, all full color. It's an amazing book. It's available on Amazon. Bigfoot is Hyden, Hyden, and you can also get it on the Wisconsin Caps page if you'd like an autographed copy. So
I love the title.
Mhm.
I mean, that's catchy. That's just damn catchy.
Craig named his Bigfoot Hyden because Bigfoot is always Hyden.
That is so cool. It's good. And you know, that's out there. And you folks, you said it's on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
And it's only $35. It's a huge book, folks.
It is a
Color. I
huge
mean,
book,
good luck finding a lot of books with color these days.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Now,
There it
the
is.
big event.
That's it. Menominee Bigfoot and Paranormal Convention, May 31st. Myself and Rich Daniels are going to be leading an expedition onto the Hyden Adventure property where it all took place. We're going to take you out there at night, and we're going to tell you some stories. Rich Daniels actually had a sighting on the property. My mom has actually had a sighting on the property. So myself, Rich Daniels, will be leading groups in onto the property and take you around, show you some evidence, take you out there, and you never know what's going to happen. We might have an interaction. We've had all kinds of stuff happen out there. And then the next day, June 1st, Chad Lewis, Doug Highcheck, Rich Daniels, and myself are all doing presentations. You can hear all kinds of cool stuff about Bigfoot and the paranormal. And Doug Highcheck is going to be doing a presentation on Sasquatch Legend Meets Science 2 and all the cool science and stuff that he's got going on right now. That night at 7 p.m., Angela Zabel is doing a psychic gallery reading as well. Tickets are $15 in advance on our website, wisconsincaps.com. And otherwise, they're $20 at the door. The Bigfoot hike and the gallery reading are separate tickets. So, and then there's vendors too. So,
man, I wish closer. I wish I lived closer, and two, I
closer.
I wish I could drive. Coming soon, though.
There you
That's
go.
coming soon, and I'll be heading up there because I got to hit like Broadhead Manor in that area and some other places and stuff. So I'll be up there, and hopefully we can get together and get out and do something. Or if you're up to traveling down here in the area, we'll see. We'll see. We got to work that out yet because there's been some things happening down here, and you'd have to connect with our local. I'd get him to join us. His name's Jason Snyder. He does something similar. He feels the paranormal is all encompassing. Everything's thrown in the mix. The only thing he doesn't do is use mediums on an investigation. So this could be interesting.
Maybe he doesn't know any good ones. You'll have to introduce them.
Yes, I think that's what it is. Around here,
Yep, that's it.
Around here, no one's seeing much around here.
Endorsement. Yeah, there you go.
small town psychics. They go to the bigger cities. I think the bigger towns. I don't know. They don't have the little wagons anymore like they used to.
No, Stephanie and Ellie, they got to get a wagon and come out.
They'd love that. Hi, Michael. How you doing, Ane?
How's it going?
And in Resnick, of course. Resnick says it's an amazing read.
Rez has been out there. He's in the book.
Rez is in the book. Yeah, we had him on the show not too long ago. I can't wait to get you guys. We've got to set that up with the three of you and get you on here, definitely, because you have so much going on, Barnaby, and
I do.
I've got a lot of respect for you for hanging in there and continuing to do it despite all the junk going on, and jumping ship, staying in there, hanging in there for the research, for what it's all about. I thank you for that. I really do. And I'm sure the audience does as well, because I've just seen so much here lately in the past few weeks anyway. People bailing left and right. Don't know why.
It's getting rough out there. I mean, like I've switched. I have a private Facebook and a public Facebook, and my public Facebook is all cryptids, paranormal, all that stuff. Like it's all that. And my private is, my personal interests and stuff, and I've spent so much time on my public one doing this stuff that I've actually switched back to the other one because I can't even take what's going on right now. It's insane. Like just
it is
so much drama. Like focus on the research. I just
and I don't know why. Instead of focusing on film crews and followers and things, focus on the research. Stay on the path. It's a beaten path. We've all just stay on the damn trail and keep going forward. It's just this community is a great community. It really is. It helps a lot of people, and it's got problems like every other community does. And I think it's all going to balance out in time. It's all going to come out in the wash.
It's like everybody has their own opinion, and I think that's the problem is people are getting upset at opinions. And until we have a 100% answer or even a decent answer on what any of this stuff is, what Bigfoot is, if it's interdimensional, UFO, who cares? Focus on what you're researching. You know, if you think it's an interdimensional being, then go out there and look at the interdimensional being. And who cares what the people think that it's flesh and blood? That's their opinion. You don't need to put them down. You don't need to prove that they're wrong or right. If you're right and it is what you think it is, paranormal, and this is anything, not just Bigfoot, just paranormal, extraterrestrials, aliens, demons, whatever you're interested in, focus on what you want. Focus on your research and going down your path. And it doesn't matter what the other person is doing. It doesn't affect you. It doesn't hurt you. Because if you're serious about what you're doing and what you're researching, your work will speak on its own.
Beautifully said. Very well said. And that's so true. Just focus on yourself. Don't worry about the others. You know, they're few and far between. There's plenty of room for us all, but for the love of God, communicate. It's sad, but it's something that's hi Robin. I'm sorry I missed you. But it's sad, but it's something that people need to realize is hopefully it's just a phase. It's just one of those things trending right now, and all this stuff will come. I've seen it in the past. When the television shows first came out is when I saw it turn, and then it settled. You know, once the dust settles, it's back to a community again, and something else happens, and then here we are. So this too shall pass, I think. But I can't thank you enough, Barnaby, for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on here. We've got to get you rescheduled. We've got to get you back on here for a 2-hour special and really get down into some of these past investigations. We really didn't have time to touch on a lot of things. It went by so fast. So definitely you're going to have to come back. We'll get it rescheduled and maybe get you and Rez and Ma on here and just kind of hash it out. Just have some good old-fashioned talk about your research, your findings, all of that good stuff. Sound like a plan?
Absolutely.
All right. And for all you fine folks out there, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to come and watch the show. If you missed the show, you can catch it on the different YouTube channels, sacredspiralnetwork.com. You can catch it over there as well. But it's been awesome. I've learned a ton. And you just keep on keeping on, my friend. I mean, it's you're moving and grooving. You are moving and grooving, doing the right thing. Now,
you too, man. You too. I want to tell you, I mean, you know, I appreciate, you know, you gave me a break a while ago on your network, and, you know, without that, I wouldn't be where I am with a lot of the stuff that I'm doing today. So I really appreciate that. And I'm so glad that after everything that's been going on and that you're back on the air and everything's going, and you seem like you're doing great. So I'm really happy for you as well.
Thank you. And I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. And there's a lot more coming up here on Haunted Voices next month. I'll get the schedule out here. Be sure and check out the Haunted Voices fan page. Also, next week, we're going to be having none other than spirit sensitive Stephanie Lynn on here with us. We're going to be talking with her.
You're just going through the whole CAPS group.
So we're going to have a lot of fun next week. Be sure and join us, folks, if you can. We'll get the event up here in just a little while. That way you can start clicking your little invitations and all that fun stuff. So from all of us here at Sacred Spiral Network and Haunted Voices, you guys have an amazing week. Take care, everybody. And Barnaby, thank you, my friend, very much.
Absolutely. We'll see you.
Have a good night, folks.